Our nether portal is nothing special, so let's build a massive custom nether portal that will leave you inspired, hopefully. For this project, my friend Trebek will be joining us.
Hi.
He's actually one of the founders of No Circle, so I'm excited he's back. You might be wondering how big are we going to make this portal? Well...
Bigger. Bigger. Bigger.
Jeff?
Bigger.
Jeff?
Bigger.
Jeff!
We should actually design a landscape around the portal as well, so it has something to fit in with. So we're going to split this build up into two sections, the terraforming and the portal. Let's start with the terraforming. We picked out this spot behind our valley because it was flat and still pretty close. Here are the blocks we decided to build with, and it looks like we're going to need a way to get lots of concrete and blocks of quartz. The rest of the blocks we can either collect manually or we already have an automatic farm for. Alright, there are a couple of different ways to get quartz, but we decided to make a stacking raid farm by Ianxofour to get an infinite amount of emeralds to trade with villagers to get quartz. Plus, we get lots of other very useful resources like redstone that will definitely come in handy for some of the farms later on in the project. I'm getting ahead of myself though. First we gotta finish this raid farm. That is a raid farm complete. This thing is insanely fast. We used this farm for about an hour and filled up most of our boxes with all of the emeralds we are going to need for quartz. Now we need a trading hall so we can actually trade the emeralds with villagers to get quartz, and I was feeling a little redstone spicy, so I decided to design my own real quick in my testing world. 10 minutes tops, then we can build this thing.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, I eventually finished it and got back to save Trebek. I'm pretty happy with this one because it was low tech, has zombification, smart chambers, and it was super quick to build. I'll do a short on this one, so look out for that if you want to know more about it. Nice, our first stonemasons.
So now what? It's working. So now what?
Yeah, that actually wasn't that bad. Let's knock out some of the easier ones now. We have quartz complete. Trebek has gathered all of the crimson hyphae stems and stripped crimson stems, as well as all the diorite. I've been AFK at our sheep farm for quite some time now, and we finally have enough white wool and pink wool. And now all that is left is concrete and concrete powder. We can't actually make a farm for concrete, but we can make a super fast duper using portal magic. So let's go build that real quick. After some troubles with the chunk loader, I finished the overworld side. It's technically done now, but we need to build a collection system in the end. Yep, we have all the concrete powder, but we have to convert that powder into concrete. I have just a thing for that. Mumbo Jumbo came up with this design and I've actually built it before. I remember it working so well that I decided to look it up and I found a reimagined version of it. I know there are much faster versions of converters nowadays, but this one in particular can be used for more than just converting concrete powder. More on that later though. We have the concrete powder and concrete all farmed up now, and oh, actually we have one more block to collect, which is the white terracotta. Luckily, I have this new farm design and it's really simple. Just don't play a single player world and have a friend collect stuff for you. Finally, we have all the materials for the terraforming stage. Now I'm excited to talk to you about the design, as I have something new to present to you all today. I've been researching behind the scenes into a new workflow for designing projects, and after a lot of trial and error, I have finally found what I think is going to be my main design tool, which is Blender. Blender is a free open source software that is used for 3D modeling among many other uses. It is very powerful because of the open source aspect, since anyone who knows what they are doing can look at the code and create their own mods. A lot like Minecraft actually. I never even considered this as an option though at first, because how do we bridge the gap between Blender and Minecraft? That is where Joey C comes in. I stumbled across his video and he actually designed a plugin for Blender from scratch that bridges this gap. I was so excited about this that I immediately got to work brushing the dust from my Blender notebook and got to work with some terraforming in Blender. Sculpting in Blender is definitely not my strong suit.
What in oblivion is that?
It's Pikachu. So I just went with something simple that would give our portal a nice pedestal to stand on. Then we took a schematic from the build site and pasted it into a creative server that we were both able to work on together. It was pretty satisfying to watch these chunks load in. After that, we used World Edit to change all the blocks to brown wool and combined the Blender schematic with that as best we could. Our strategy was to mask paint everything using World Edit, and then when it was finished, we would take the final schematic back to no circles. We would just bump it up one block so it all sat nicely on the existing landscape, for the most part. Okay, hopefully that wasn't boring. I really nerd out about the process of designing a project, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Let's hop into the terraforming build. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing because this is all we do on this channel and it really helps me out in so many ways. Most of the landscape is covered by the white tones, which help create an alien desert vibe. The white tones turn into red and pink patches that feature spires and flowers. The flowers were designed by Trebek and I think they turned out great. As for the story of the landscape, it can be whatever you imagine, but to me it looks like these flowers are pulling some alien minerals from underground and they're being spread on the surface. I'd like to hear what you think though. The terraforming is complete. You'll notice these two holes in the landscape because that is where the base of the portal is going to be. It would probably help the composition to choose complementary colors for the portal, which would be green tones in this case. So we have to create a renewable source of Sculk, oxidized copper, prismarine bricks, and sea lanterns. I feel like doing the easy ones first this time so I can get that quick satisfaction, you know? This is the Sculk farm design. It works using the death rattles of Enderman, which I am 100% okay with since I have a little bit of a history with them. Sculk, check. On to the Guardian farm. A few hundred blocks north of our raid farm, we found an ocean temple and quickly evicted the residents. We used a design from LogicalGeekBoy that is really clever because you don't have to drain the monument in order for the farm to be functional. The trade-off is frames. I got close to no frames when I was building it, but that is to be expected. Six hours later, and we have all the sea lanterns and prismarine bricks we're gonna need. I love that we also get black ink sacks from this farm. It's just so handy. That was kind of a grind to build, so let's go collect the easy ones we already have farms for. And Trebek got us all the white glazed terracotta. Next up is oxidized copper. We need 6 shulker boxes of copper blocks, so that's a lot of copper ingots. And if we want to automate this, then we have to make a drowned farm. Of course, we have to go with Ianxofour's drowned farm because it's super easy to build. We are only getting 500 ingots per hour, so it'll take us 90 hours of AFK to get all the copper we need at these rates. That's way too slow. Drowned farms are interesting because their rates are based solely on how fast your server is. And our server was doo-doo. So as a last ditch effort, I forked over the cache for a better server, migrated our world save, and... it worked. Now, how are we going to turn all of these copper blocks into oxidized copper? Because placing them by hand is way too inefficient. Let me do some research. Okay, there's actually not a lot of options for copper oxidation farms, but I'm pretty sure Cubicmetre has the best design for our uses, and it has 2 size options. Let's look at the material list for the smaller size. Wow, okay, I think it'll be worth it though. The funny thing is we need 2 shulkers of oxidized copper to build the farm to oxidize the copper with. It's confusing, I know, but bear with me. So my solution, build another oxidizer farm to get oxidized copper to build a better oxidizer farm. Think of it as different tiers of efficiency. This farm is based off a design by BjorkMinecraft, and it's a great low-tech, easy to understand farm. It's basically a long piston feed tape that you feed 4 blocks of sand and 1 copper block until it is full. At the end, the sand gets recycled and the oxidized copper gets organized for harvesting. I modified it by scaling it up to the maximum size it could be and added a little system that feeds me 4 sand and 1 copper block on a timer, so I can just hold down right click and AFK while it cycles through. I got my alt account over there AFKing, so while that is oxidizing, we can go ahead and get the rest of the redstone materials together for the other oxidation farm. The stacking raid farm will help us out getting all the redstone for this, so let's go run that some more. But of course, we're out of cobblestone, so I'll make a cobble generator right next to the raid farm to double up our time there. Oof, that was a lot of prepping for one farm, but now we can build it. Cubic and his community came up with this design and they are way smarter than I am with this stuff, but to egregiously paraphrase them, fresh copper will oxidize if it is surrounded by fully oxidized copper. If this topic piques your interest, then definitely go check out his vids on it, it's really good stuff. The way we use this is essentially the same as the other one, just much faster. Fresh copper goes in, you wait, then rinse and repeat. But it comes out so fast you need a blast chamber to collect it, and that's why we have the concrete converter lined up with the outflow of the oxidized copper. This is just music in motion. All in all, I think oxidized copper is the hardest block to get infinite amounts of. However, it was also a very satisfying challenge to conquer. And with that, all the green tone blocks are collected. We have one last challenge before we complete this project, and that is the design on the portal. We searched online for some reference art together in a Discord call, and once we found something we both got inspired by, I modeled a low poly version of it so that it would better fit into the Minecraft survival world. Once we got that, we brought it into our creative server where we painted it with our green tones to bring it to life. It was looking great, but we totally got stumped by what we were going to do with the actual portal. portal in the center. After going through a couple iterations, just wait and see what we came up with for the centerpiece. Are you ready?
Yes.